So here's my very quick way of making bread, and these are the ingredients I'm using. So you can see there's the flour at the bread back, which is the bread flour. I'm going to use 2 pounds of that. I've got some white vinegar, which is a very little dash which I put in to help with the expansion. You've got the molten sea salt, you've got some active dry yeast, you've got some sugar, and this is the first part of the step which we're going to bloom the sugar, the yeast. So I'm just taking a pot here, I'm going to move it over so you can see what's going on, and all I'm going to do is set this to nice hot water. Now what you can do here is you can use distilled water and you can do all the other nice bits and pieces. It's entirely up to you. But all I'm going to do is take 1 cup of warm water. So it doesn't need to be boiling, it's around 95 degrees, but really just if you stick your hand underneath and it's getting nice and warm, you just take 1 cup of that initially. And the recipe actually calls for 3 cups. So what I use is the first initial cup just to bloom the yeast. And what I do there is all I'm doing is taking the dry yeast pack, putting into the water, take a packet of sugar, because this is what the yeast feeds on, put that into the water, stir it around to get it all incorporated and mixed together. Again, nothing fancy. And we're going to now leave that for 10 minutes. So you can see at the moment it's just a creamy colour. While we're waiting, we can actually do the other part of the recipe, which is, got a bowl here, turning it on. I set it to decimal pounds because it's easier. Get the flour, weigh out 2 pounds, and again you can sieve it, you can do all nice features. Obviously if you sieve it you can get exact weights and it makes it slightly more fluffy. I've tried it both ways and honestly I don't feel there's a lot of difference if you get a good quality flour. So I'm at 1.9. Bring a little bit more in. And there you go. I'm at 2 pounds. And then you take 1 tablespoon of salt. And I tend to sort of heap it a little bit and just put that in. So we're now going to wait the 10 minutes for the yeast to activate. Okay, it's been about a minute and you can see on top you're now starting to see where the yeast is eating and blooming. So again we're still going to wait. At this point I also turn on the oven. I've got a bread proofing feature on the oven and I've set it to 100 degrees. If you don't have it, then don't worry, you can leave it out at room temperature. If you do it this way, it takes 1 hour to actually get the yeast to double in size, also the dough to double in size. If you don't have a proofing oven, leaving it out in the air, that takes around 2 hours to double in size, but we'll cover that a bit later. Okay, so coming back, the bloom has now been going for 10 minutes. You can hear the timer going, and I'm now ready to mix it in to the actual paste itself or into the dough. So what I'm going to do is first of all turn off the timer. I take it, I just put it in nice simply. What I like to do is actually get more hot water, put it into the actual bowl, and then pour that in. That way I can make sure I'm getting everything I need to get. Also at this point, I put in a splash, 1 teaspoon if you want to be more methodical, just a sort of splash of vinegar. I've seen on the sites it actually helps raise the dough, the structure. Now I go over to my stand mixer, put it on. I just use a normal metal blade, nothing fancy. Put that in. Of course, start slow, otherwise you get lots of dust everywhere. And then once you start hearing, I then move it up to a higher speed. And this goes for like 30 seconds to 1 minute. You'll see what it looks like. You can see it's starting to incorporate better now. And the speed should be on high to medium, oh sorry, medium to high. You can sort of hear it, it's a, I don't know, sort of fuzzy sound. Okay, that seems good to me. Then I take a bowl, and again you just want to be able to have it so it doubles in size. I pull this out of here. It looks really gooey and horrible, which it is. I'm not a big fan of this type of stuff. Let's get it off. And then put it off to the mixer. One thing I find is really good is to clean everything as fast as possible. So I won't do that this particular one, but normally I'll be cleaning off the head and everything else. Get as much as possible. The more you have, the more bread you have, of course. That's like good for what I want today. I'm just cleaning my hands. One thing is, if you don't clean it and you leave it, it goes like concrete at one point. So it's always best to clean it immediately. Now what I'm going to do is put this mixture into the bowl. Again, I'm being a little bit sloppy here compared to what I'd normally do. Just get it in, looking nice. Sort of in the centre. And I take some cling wrap. And that's pretty much the basics of it done. So just put some cling wrap over the top. What this does is helps the top stay moist when you're proofing it. And there you go. And now I'm just going to go to the oven and put it in here for 1 hour, just to rise to sort of double in size. So at that moment it looks like this, and later on you'll see it doubles. Okay, I'm going to pause this now for 1 hour. Right, we're about halfway through. And as you can see, it's started to rise already. And we wanted to go a little bit more, so that's at the 27 minutes left mark. And again, if you don't have a proofing oven, okay, you leave it outside. Instead of taking 1 hour, it's going to take about 2 hours. Okay, it's been 1 hour approximately. You can see the countdown timer, and you can see how much the dough has risen within that hour. Okay, so we'll just turn off the timer, and now what we're going to do is take it out of the oven and put it into the fridge. And again, very easy maneuver. Now it goes into the fridge for an extra 2 hours. You'll find it actually rises even more. Once it's in the fridge after 2 hours, you can actually start to use it immediately. I prefer to actually leave it overnight, and you can have the dough in the fridge for up to 7 days. So what I generally do is every couple of days, when I've run out of the loaf, I'll take another section out, in thirds, so I have it fresh over the following week. And later on tomorrow, I'll do the video which shows you how to cook it. Okay, until the next one. Film afterwards. And what I tend to do, I don't use flour, I don't use any of the things which they talk about. All I do is get my little scraper and scrape it out of the bowl. Because what I want is about 1/3. So, a nice amount. The other thing which I need to do is some parchment paper. So just get some parchment paper. And fancy, so just put it down between 2 boxes to hold it in place. I divide this into approximately 1/3. Again, nothing fancy. I'll put the other 2/3 back into the bowl. I'm going to need this. I take the cling wrap. And again, you want to do this to keep it moist. And you can do it for, keep this in the freezer for 7 days. So this is a nice way. Just keep it fresh, keep top done. It's not quite over. Always when you're trying to rush and do things, you don't do it right. And there you go. That goes back into the fridge. And that will be me for another several days. So I take this, again put the parchment paper back into a nice sort of roll, and then I just put that into the centre. That's going to rest now for 1 hour. Just put this up so it holds it nicely. There you go. So you can see it's resting like this. And what I do, what I do is I get a little bit of flour, which I'm just about to get. I use the same flour as before. So it's the Gold Meadow bread flour. A little bit just spread over. Again, you don't need to be fancy. All of this is I'm showing you sort of quick and dirty, nothing really fancy or anything which goes on. And I take a new bread towel and just drape it over the top. Again, this is to keep the moisture in. And now that's going to rise for, and I'll leave it for 1 hour. And we'll come back in 1 hour's time. Okay, it's now been 1 hour. And what I'm going to do is to prep the bread. So there's 2 stages here. One is scoring the top of the bread to just create those nice little gaps. And the second one is to use a little milk to actually cover the bread to help it brown and give it a nice colour. What this also does is create steam or additional steam in the oven, which helps the bread to rise. So I'm just getting out all the little bits and pieces, and here we go. So here's the bread. It's changed its shape slightly. And what I'm now going to do, let me put it there so you can see what's going on, is I'm taking a razor and I'm just going to score some nice deep gashes in the bread. Then what I'm doing is I'm taking some milk and I'm just covering the top nicely to give it a nice sheen. Okay, now I've done that, I'm going to swap across to the oven, and what I'm going to do is open the oven up and then move the bread in. So it's nice and hot. Just moving it off. Taking this bread and just dropping it in nicely. Take the lid again. And what we're going to do now is to leave that in the oven for 10 minutes to just start the rising process. So again, set the timer for 10, whoops, wrong one, timer, actually sorry, I'm setting it for 20 minutes. Okay, and now this is going to allow the bread to start to rise in the oven. What happens is the steam from the inside the bread is this thing which actually makes it rise up. So we'll come back in 20 minutes. Okay, now coming up to the 10-minute mark. Oh, sorry, 20-minute mark. And I'm going to turn it off. Next stage of this is to take the cover off. You can see it's already grown quite substantially, and now we're going to leave it to brown. I'm going to turn it around this way so you can see what's going on. And we put it in for initial 10 minutes, but over time it will actually brown up, and you get it to just whatever level of crispy you want. So normally it's around 10-15 minutes, and we'll just let it go now. We'll come back in 5-10 minutes so you can see. Okay, we're coming up to the 10-minute mark. As you can see, the bread already looks pretty good, so I'm actually going to take it out now. Sometimes you may need to leave it longer, it really depends, but this time it looks pretty good. Okay. And there it is. So what I'm now going to do, just take it out and put it on the slab. And there, 1 loaf of bread, done. And there's another 2 loaves which can be made over the next week from that recipe. Okay, have a good one. Bye. Just one other note. You actually need it to leave it to cool down for 2 hours. So 2 hours, let it cool down. After 3 hours, you can put it in a paper bag and then use it over the next couple of days.